Paradigm is, according to me, when it is a word to think anew, way to a life.
Okay. Fantastic. Actually, that's a very good definition. Where did you hear this definition? Where did you read it? How did it come into your awareness?
In our subject, the paradigm is there.
Okay.
In system thinking.
System or in the system thinking.
Okay. All right. That is why you
It's
have
a
a good
new
understanding.
technique to see the world.
That is why you have a good understanding. But are you also aware that the system thinking is not taught in most of the academic institutions?
Yes, ma'am.
Manmai, are you with me on this? You are a student yourself and you are going into further studies of economics, right? This, what he just talked about, or the subject, have you heard about this subject? And she's going to do her PhD. See, this is the contradiction that we are talking about. Thinking is the most basic function that every human being is capable of. Person may be badly disabled in the physical body and yet can think. Right? And yet, it is never taught in any of the academic institutions. Now, I have been using this sentence for quite a long time, that it is not taught in any of the academic institutions. I have taken my words back. I will not use it in this way any further, because this is one organization where they teach system thinking. Tomorrow I'm going to meet the director of your organization,
Yes.
and I will be very, very grateful for that.
Yes.
Okay? Now this is what we are talking about. Thinking, the most basic human function, the most creative human function, not taught in many of the organizations, in most of the organizations, most of the academic institutions. People do a PhD and they come out asking, what do I do with my life? And then they go about asking those 97%ers who are in any case not doing anything with their lives. How are they ever going to get the answer? They say, what do you think I do? What do you think I do? They go about asking. And the chances are that the other person does not think. Why? Because they've not been taught systematic thinking. Everybody thinks. But thinking is not that jumbled activity that keeps happening in your mind all the time. It is a proper force which needs to be utilized. And paradigms, I'm just going to share with you what exactly they are and how powerful they are and how they can be governing every aspect of our life, even our thinking. Do you agree to this? That all of us want results. All of you agree to this?
Yes. Yes.
Does anybody disagree to this? Now everybody agrees to this, that we want results. Okay? And change results, I told you, are the only indication of changed awareness. You may have an intense desire about something, but unless your results are changing, and changing like night and day, your awareness is not growing. Your results are a direct reflection of your thought process. So if your results are not changing, your thinking is not changing. You're not growing. You will talk about growth. You may be able to stand up and give a 2-hour lecture about growth, but if your results are not changing, you're not growing. That is a fact of reality. And that is a contradiction that is constantly being seen, especially in the personal development industry in which I happen to operate. There is a lot of lecturing, but not enough changing of results. Transformation, we are calling this event a life transformation event for this reason. Transformation means change, and it can happen only when the knowledge given is implementable. 2 pieces I have already given you. What is success? For the ideal, You have to find those. Now, Joel Barker, in his very good book called The Paradigms, he writes about the paradigms. He says that to ignore the power of the paradigm to influence your judgment is to put yourself at considerable risk while exploring the future. Everybody is moving into the future constantly, with every passing moment. Every single person, whether they like the future destination or no, is what the paradigms are going to govern. You are every moment moving into a destination. That destination is somewhere in your future. Progressively you are moving towards it. Now whether that destination is out of your choice or is it out of somebody's choice, that remains to be seen. Because most of us, if we don't have a destination, chances are our paradigms are governing that destination. But what are paradigms? Simplistically speaking, paradigms are a multitude of habits. Very simplistically speaking. I'll tell you a short story. I read this story when I must have been about 5 or 6 years of age. Some of you may have heard me telling this story before, but it's a good story and it gives the power of the paradigms very clearly. There was a lady who, I read this story by the way in the Reader's Digest. Well, my father had a big collection of old Reader's Digest and they used to be of a different quality at that time. He used to have those small anecdotes printed in the Reader's Digest. So I read the story there and it struck me in my mind. I was very small, but still, I just remember. So when this understanding about paradigms came into my awareness just recently, that is the time when I recall this story. That's how pieces of knowledge get correlated when you develop better awareness. Something you may have come across in your life long time back suddenly fits like a piece of a puzzle altogether. And the picture is complete. This story is about a lady who every time she used to cook fish, full fish, used to make fried fish for her family, she used to cut off the tail of the fish. One fine day her husband asked her, "Why did you do that? Why do you always do that?" She said, "I don't know, I learned all my cooking from my mother-in-law, I'm going to ask her." Next time she met her mother-in-law, she asked her, "So why do you do that?" She said, "I don't know. I learned all my cooking from my mother, so I'm going to ask her." And incidentally, her mother was alive at that time, otherwise she would have lost the opportunity of even going and asking her. This lady, she went about asking her. He said, "My dear, when I was raising a family, I had a very small pan. My family loved eating full fish, full fried fish. The only option I could exercise there was to cut off the tail so that I could fit the fish into the pan." Those are our paradigms. They are a multitude of habits constantly happening. Now if you examine your day, 98% of your activities or even more are habitual activities. When you got up today morning and you went into the bathroom, you did not look at that plastic thing we call it a toothbrush and wondered what to do with it. You just used it without any thinking. Then when you went to dress up, you did not look at your clothes and wondered how to put them on. You may have thought about what to wear. You may have given a conscious thought to that, but you may have not given any thought to how to wear it. But if you observe a 2-year-old child and give them a shirt, they would probably put their legs into one of the arms. Right? Why? Because they have not yet learned the habitual behavior of getting dressed. These are our paradigms. Multitude of habits that we collect over the period of years. And then they become our habituated behavior. We don't even think about replicating it at any point in time. We just don't think about it, just keep on doing it. Now, if you start examining 98% of your day, and it is filled with habituated activities, and if you examine and stop for a moment and think, why did I just do that? That will be the time when you start examining your paradigms. Because there may not be any logic behind it. There may not be any reasoning behind it. If you observe a few people, and observing people, by now you must have understood fairly well that it's my favorite pastime, favorite present time. It's the best activity that I enjoy, examining myself and examining other people, because that's the field of work that I have chosen, because that is my worthy ideal. This is what I do best, and finally I realized it at about 40 years of age. Finally figured it out. So, if you talk to somebody, and if you examine them properly, you will see that whatever they are saying is just habitual talk. People would not say many of the things that they actually end up saying if they're even thinking about it. What I'm going to suggest is that most people are not thinking. Otherwise, they wouldn't be saying those things that they actually were about saying. Which means that a conversation can also be very habitual. And conversation is something we are indulging in all the time. We are indulging in a conversation within ourselves all the time. There is a certain thought process that's going on. Is your thought process habitual, or is it a conscious exercise that you are indulging in? Think about it. Because that is governing all the results in your life. Every thought that you are projecting is getting converted into a result. There is no thought which is not getting converted into a result ever. Don't let anybody deceive you in this department. Don't let anybody tell you that there is